Graduates of Information Technology and Communication Engineering. And Britain is the first country in the world to approve Pfizer and BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for use. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. And now, live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, here we present to you the details of this news bulletin. His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Defense Affairs, received today His Excellency Ali Najafi, Iran's ambassador accredited to the Sultanate. During the meeting, bilateral ties were reviewed and issues of common interest were discussed. General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Nu'mani, Minister of the Royal Office, received today at his office His Excellency Lieutenant General Sir John Lormia, Special Advisor to the British Ministry of Defence for Middle East Affairs. During the meeting, they discussed the historical good relations between the Sultanate and the United Kingdom. They also reviewed a number of issues of common interest. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith bin Nasser al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultan's Armed Forces, received today at his office in Al-Murtafa camp His Excellency Lieutenant General Sir John Lorima, Special Advisor to the British Ministry of Defence for Middle East Affairs. During the meeting, they discussed a number of issues of common interest. His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad bin Hamoud Al Busaidi, Minister of Foreign Affairs, held a video meeting with His Excellency S. Jai Shankar, Minister of External Affairs of India. During the meeting, it was emphasized that the two countries are keen on the existing cooperation relations between them and to continue developing them in various fields, including cooperation in the fields of healthcare and the elimination of the emerging coronavirus COVID-19 and international cooperation to find a vaccine for this epidemic. The meeting also emphasized the importance that the two countries attach to the continuation of regional security and stability, resolving various issues and disputes by peaceful means and through dialogue, supporting efforts to reduce tension and address its cause in a way that enhances the chances of achieving understanding, peace and harmony. The meeting was attended by His Excellency Sheikh Khalifa bin Ali bin Isa Al Harthi and the Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for Diplomatic Affairs, ambassadors of both countries, and a number of officials in the foreign ministries of the two countries. The Sultanate considers that peace is one of the highest blessings whereby nations stabilize and the peace of cooperation between states increases. The Deputy Permanent Representative of the Sultanate to the United Nations said. Oman News Agency said in a statement, the Sultanate confirms in its speech at the United Nations General Assembly in New York that the culture of peace occupies a special place for Oman, which was affirmed by His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq last February. The speech, delivered by Consular Ahmed bin Dawood Az-Zidgali, Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations, also mentioned Oman's belief in peace, which is an essential component of its foreign policy and a noble goal that it seeks to achieve in its relations with the rest of the world. The Minister of Labour signed a training agreement with Huawei company to train 300 graduates of Information Technology and Communication on engineering on 3 batches annually in practical and theoretical terms. More details coming up in this report.
An agreement to train 300 graduates in Information Technology and Communications Engineering signed by the Ministry of Labour with Huawei, with the aim of providing training opportunities for students to enable them to meet the requirements of the labour market, provide them with the necessary experience to compete in it, and job opportunities for the distinguished among them.
This training platform provides an opportunity for our students to join a worldly company and to benefit from the latest technologies in IT and communication. It will provide the basis for growth in their career path, and it's a great opportunity to work close with professionals from around the world. Besides, it will provide the latest technologies and pass it to locals here in Oman.
Graduate students will be trained in 3 batches annually, both practically and theoretically. and will be provided with an allowance and health insurance during the training period.
Very glad to attend these events. You know, nowadays, the ICT technology play more and more important role for the whole society transform. But ICT technology developed very fast. It brings some gap between the knowledge which get from the universities and the job requirement. Internship is a very good way to reduce this gap. So this time we cooperate with the Ministry of Labor closely to provide this 2 to 3 years internship program for those students above grade 3 in the universities.
I've done training since 2 months back. First of all, we just started our training like taking online courses of 5G and switching and routing HCI certificates from Huawei company, and now enterprises department. So training is very important, especially after graduation, because it will grow the skills of the students and make the students be more effective in workplace.
The training program seeks to bridge the gap between university study and the labour market, as it will provide graduate students with experience and high competitive ability to keep pace with global developments.
The Minister of Health reported 237 new cases of COVID-19 today, bringing the total number of cases registered in the Sultanate to 124,145. Minister of Health reported no new COVID-19 related deaths, maintaining the total death toll at 1,430. The total recovery cases reached 115,613, which is 93.1% of the total cases reported so far. 14 people were hospitalized during the past 24 hours, taking the total number of inpatients in hospitals to 197, including 105 in intensive care units. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. Beavers are introduced to the wild in UK to control flood risks and increase biodiversity. You are with the Sultanate of Oman television. The novel coronavirus has killed more than 1.48 million people since the outbreak emerged in China last December. At least 63.86 million cases have been registered. Of these, 40.7 million are now considered recovered. Yesterday, 13,186 new deaths and 625,301 new cases were recorded worldwide. The United States is the worst affected country with 270,691 deaths from more than 13.7 million cases. After the US, the hardest hit countries are Brazil with 173,817 deaths, India 138,122, Mexico 106,765, and the United Kingdom with 59 and 51 deaths. Europe recorded 420,752 deaths, Asia 195,866, the Middle East 79,501, and Africa with 52,308 deaths. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization today recommended wearing face masks when indoors with other people if the ventilation has been deemed inadequate. The new recommendations apply in areas of known or suspected cluster or community transmission of the new coronavirus. The United Nations Health Agency also urged people not to wear masks during vigorous physical activity and not to use masks with valves, saying they bypass the filtration function of the face masks. As for face shields, WHO said they provide a level of eye protection only and should not be considered as an equivalent to masks when it came to protection against respiratory droplets. Britain today became the first country in the world to approve Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for use and said that it will be rolled out from early next week. Pfizer said Britain's emergency use authorization marks a historic moment in the fight against COVID-19. Pfizer Chief Executive Officer said they anticipate further authorizations and approvals. They are focused on moving with the same level of urgency to safely supply a high-quality vaccine around the world. Health Secretary Matt Hancock said the program would begin early next week. Hospitals, he said, were already ready to receive it. A Chinese spacecraft sent to return lunar rocks to Earth collected its first samples today after landing on the moon, adding to a string of success for Beijing's increasingly ambitious space program. The Change 5 probe touched down yesterday after descending from an orbiter. The probe, launched on November 24th from the tropical southern island of Hainan, is the latest venture by a Chinese space program that sent its first astronaut into orbit in 2003, has a spacecraft en route to Mars and aims eventually to land a human on the moon. Plans call for the lander to spend about 2 days drilling into the lunar surface and collecting 2 kilograms of rocks and debris. The top stage of the probe will be launched back into lunar orbit to transfer the samples to a capsule for return to Earth, where it is to land in China Northeast grasslands in mid-December. It's a wildlife success story. A colony of beavers reintroduced to the wild countryside of West England have restored water habitats which died out hundreds of years ago. The beavers were released into the wild in January and have built the first dam the area has seen for more than 400 years. In this quiet corner of Samares, a remarkable ecological experiment has taken place. The beavers have begun to transform the woods into a wetland. The National Trust has been conducting this trial with 3 beavers brought down from Scotland and kept it in a fenced closure for 9 months. The beavers chose the confluence of 2 streams to maximize its effect. The animals used to be common in Britain, but were hunted to extinction. Now there's a growing movement to want them to be reintroduced into places like Exmoor to slow rivers and manage flooding downstream on Exmoor. The United Arab Emirates celebrates its 49th National Day amid significant development being witnessed in various spheres. The Sultanate participates with the United Arab Emirates, UAE, in its 49th National Day celebrations, while stressing on the good brotherly relations that bind the two countries under the attention and care of the leaders of both countries, His Majesty Sultan Haytham and His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. It's worth mentioning that the good relations between the Sultanate and United Arab Emirates resulted in bilateral cooperation in various fields which are embodied in the higher Omani Emirati Joint Committee, Oman and Emirates Investment Holding Company. The volume of trade exchange of non-oil products between both countries amounted to 5 billion Omani Riyal last year, in addition to joint investments in manufacturing, industries, tourism sectors, financial activities and logistics. The joint work between both countries also formed a clear vision towards a number of regional and international issues, in addition to enhancing peace and security in the region through resolving disputes with dialogue and developing relations with other countries. On this glorious day, the people of the United Arab Emirates celebrates their great achievements while looking forward to the prosperous future, as the Omani people join them with best wishes and sincere greetings towards further progress and development. The International Council of Nurses, in its continuous contact with the WHO EMRO, to have organized a virtual conference on nurses and diabetes. The campaign is to raise awareness around the crucial role that nurses play in supporting people living with diabetes. More details coming up in this report. With the aim of highlighting nurses' role in detecting, treating and improving the health and well-being of diabetic people and in preventing its complications, a virtual conference organized by the WHO EMRO in coordination with the International Council of Nurses was held today, where Oman was represented by Ms. Zubaydah Al-Harthi, a nurse and a health educator. She spoke along with the international speakers about the advancement made in providing care and health education of diabetes people in Oman.
It has been a very good opportunity for me as a nurse diabetic educator to join international speakers on behalf of Oman Nursing Association members and all nurses in Oman to talk about diabetes in the country. As a nurse and diabetic educator, we put all our effort in providing all areas necessarily for maintaining the health of diabetes person.
Diabetes affects millions of people and it can debilitate or cut lives short. The Eastern Mediterranean region, including Oman, is considered to have the highest rates of diabetes in the world. And now, with the COVID-19 pandemic, people with diabetes are at higher risk of developing severe COVID-19 symptoms and need continuous care to manage their condition. With the right expertise, nurses can make the difference in the fight against diabetes. Hence, a call for more investments in nursing so that nurses are better prepared to support people with diabetes and help maintain essential health services and raising health care demands during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat. Indeed, nurses are the largest group among health workforce worldwide, constituting around 59% of health professionals. Nurses play an important role in tackling diabetes care. As the point of first contact, they are well positioned to detect, treat and refer patients with NCDs, as well as to provide information, education and counseling to the public on prevention of diabetes. So we congratulate them for their dedicated work. Now, 62 million Omani Riyals is the value of treasury bills allocated for additional issues number 106. The Central Bank of Oman, CBO, stated that the period of maturity for these bills reached 28 days starting from today, Wednesday, 2nd of December 2020. The interest rate on buy-back operations with the central bank on these bills is 0.5%, while the discount rate over treasury's bills reaches 1%. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman Television, and to conclude this news bulletin, here are the main points once again. A training agreement is signed to train 300 graduates of information technology and communication on engineering. And Britain is the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer and BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for use. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us, and good night all.